Quite early in my design career, I worked on a feature that I was really proud of. I had thought through the flows, the edge cases, accessibility, of course, everything. I was confident in my work. Then in a meeting, someone said, "This isn't priority right now." And just like that, the project never shipped. At the time, I felt frustrated. I thought the decision was about my design. But what I didn't realize yet was, product teams don't actually choose what to build. They decide what not to build. Every decision is a trade-off. Every yes is also a not now. And the skill sitting at the center of all that is prioritization. If you ever had work deprioritized, or you sat in a meeting wondering how these decisions are really made, then this video is for you. Do you struggle to comprehend industry jargons as an early career UX designer or product designer? If so, don't worry, you are exactly who this series is made for. I have compiled a full A to Z guide of product design terms to help you understand and use them confidently in your communication, so that you can set clear expectations and show your value as a designer. So far, we've covered letter A through O, and today we are on letter P. And our word for today is, drum roll, prioritization. By the end of this video, you will understand what prioritization really means, how product teams decide what to ship, the most common frameworks you will hear in meetings, and where you fit in these conversations as a designer. Let's get into it. What is prioritization? At its core, prioritization is how product teams decide what to work on first, because no team has unlimited time, people, or resources. So prioritization really is about trade-offs. Choosing this means saying no or not now to that. And here is a phrase you hear a lot in product: if everything is important, nothing is. And that's not dismissive, it's realistic. Because the real question is never, is this important? It's more like, is this most important right now? Why prioritization matters? When prioritization is unclear or poorly done, teams start too many things and finish very few. Important user problems are delayed, engineers are constantly context switching, and products ship slowly or even without real impact. Good prioritization creates focus, and focus is what allows the team to ship meaningful features, learn faster, and actually move metrics. This is why prioritization isn't just a product manager's job, it affects everyone. How product teams decide what to build. Here's something early career designers often don't see yet. Most feature decisions don't start with features, they start with company strategy, product vision, and business goals. That vision then ladders down from the company's goals to the product goals to the individual teams deciding which problems to solve next. It's only after that the features actually enter the conversation. So when a team deprioritizes a feature, it's often because the timing is wrong, the business focus has shifted, or another problem is simply more urgent right now. It's not because the designs were bad. That distinction actually matters. How teams compare features. When teams do compare features, most prioritization conversations come back to three questions. Who is it for? What problem does it solve? And why now? Let's make this concrete. Fixing the broken checkout flow will almost always be prioritized over adding a new animation. It's not because the polish doesn't matter, but because the broken checkout directly impacts revenue and users' trust. Impact matters more than the moment. And here's why this matters for you as a designer. When you understand prioritization, you stop taking decisions personally and start engaging with them strategically. Now let's talk about the frameworks you would actually hear people use. Common prioritization frameworks. RISE framework. The RISE framework is commonly used when teams are comparing multiple ideas and they need a structured way to decide what's worth building first. RISE stands for reach, impact, confidence, and effort. In simple terms, it helps teams ask, is this feature worth the time and effort it will take to build? For example, imagine a team is deciding between improving a checkout, error message, redesigning onboarding screens, or adding a new personalization feature. The checkout fix might affect fewer screens, but it reaches users who are already trying to pay, and this has a high impact on revenue and doesn't take long to build. Even if the personalization feature sounds more exciting, Rise might show that a checkout fix delivers more value right now, so it gets prioritized first. Moscow Framework. The Moscow Framework is often used for scope decisions, deadlines, and launch planning. Moscow stands for must have, should have, could have, and won't have. It helps teams clearly separate what is critical from what is nice to have. Let's say a team is preparing to launch a new checkout experience. A working payment flow is a must-have. Without it, nothing works. Clear error messages might be a should-have. Important but not launch blocking. Visual polish or animations could be could-haves. They are great if there's time. And advanced personalization might be a would-have for now. The key thing to remember is this: if everything becomes a must, the framework stops working and nothing is truly prioritized. The impact versus effort matrix compares how much value something delivers against how much work it takes to build. Teams map ideas on a grid with impact on an axis and effort on the other. High impact and low effort are quick wins and usually get prioritized first. High impact and high effort are big bets that require planning. Low impact and low effort are nice to haves, and low impact with high effort usually gets deprioritized. At its core, this framework helps teams ask, what gives us the biggest return for the least amount of work? Now, let's make this practical. Imagine a team is deciding between three things: fixing a broken checkout button, improving onboarding copy, or adding a new animation to the home screen. Fixing the checkout button is high impact and low effort. Users can finally complete purchases. That's a quick win. Improving onboarding copy might be a medium impact and low effort. Helpful but not urgent. Adding a new animation could be low impact and high effort. It looks nice but doesn't solve a critical problem. Using the impact versus effort matrix, the checkout fix gets prioritized first. Not because it's more exciting, but because it delivers better value or the most value for now. You may also hear teams reference the following frameworks. Opportunity scoring. This prioritizes unmet user needs rather than features. Outcome-based prioritization. This focuses on metrics like activation and retention. Value versus risk. This balances the upside against uncertainty. Cost of delay. This looks at the cost of not shipping right now. Jobs to be done. This focuses on what users are actually trying to accomplish. As an early career product designer, you don't need to master these. You just need to recognize the language. Where you fit in as a designer. Here's the key thing that I want you to remember. You're usually not the final decision maker on what is prioritized, and that's okay. Your role is to understand why something is prioritized, ask thoughtful questions, flag usability and accessibility risk, and help the team think through trade-offs. Questions like, what problems are we trying to solve? Who benefits most from this? And what happens if this ships later? So that's prioritization. How product teams decide what matters most right now and what has to wait. If this video helped you feel more confident navigating product conversations, give it a thumbs up. It really helps more product designers like yourself find the series. And if you are new here, please subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next letter in the A to Z of product design. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.